All right, Samsung White Knights, we gotta have a chat. See, I made the mistake of saying some nice things about the LG G8. I shot 4 mini videos, focusing on different specific features of the phone, only to be met by an internet echo chamber of people regurgitating the opinions of some other larger YouTube channels. In those comments, not many good facts or well-nuanced comparisons or pros and cons, more just the squawking, the parroting of conclusions that were spoon-fed to them by someone else. We gotta take a stab at breaking this down a bit. I happen to enjoy LG as a brand, but the main thing I keep hoping to see more of is good competition. And the current flavor of YouTube commentary does a very good job of squashing that competition, just grinding it under its boot. We've all seen it. The channels that promote winners and losers, there can only be one gadget, a binary option, when we should see a spectrum of good choices. When that's combined with a YouTube algorithm promoting mostly content that is already proven to be search popular, you end up with these really ugly little echo chambers. It's easiest to get your numbers, to grow your audience, by promoting the most popular phones for search. And that kind of makes sense in my brain. But then that starts to snowball. So if that's your fan base, it's easier to make that fan base feel good about themselves, rather than try and incorporate multiple and differing communities under your one channel umbrella. It is genuinely hard to try and diversify. So, to oversimplify, if a huge chunk of your viewers are Samsung fans, you might be more inclined to gloss over some of the criticisms in a Samsung review. Likewise, when you're reviewing a competing product, rather than alienating your core Samsung audience, you'll get more traffic by reassuring Samsung customers that they made the right choice. Worth it? Not worth it. Rinse, repeat. And honestly, I'd be fine with that if those Samsung White Knights just sort of stuck to their own corners of the internet. But instead, we see this core angry group of Samsung enthusiasts brigade over anything which doesn't fit their sort of preconceived narrative of what was supposed to be the more popular device. Popularity, I'm gonna get back to that in just a sec. We shouldn't be terribly surprised because from the very top, from Samsung corporate, Samsung PR, they're the ones who set the tone for a company mocking and making fun of their rivals. And I'm not even trying to say you should buy an LG G8 as much as I'm just trying to point to the idea that the G8 can be good competition for the medium-sized Galaxy S10. Just saying that out loud, some of you are acting like I just kicked your puppy. I did not just kick your puppy. There's this witty idea that maybe LG would be better if they stripped their phones and only competed against OnePluses, but objectively, this is just not the case. You compare a G8 to a Galaxy S10, where the G8 enjoys a $50 cost savings MSRP, and I think we've got a pretty good fight. I like to show my work, so because I can feel some of you already bristling that I would deign to besmirch the reputation of Samsung in this comparison, let's break this down. I've already done this in a couple editorials, some blog posts, and in a ton of comments, so let's just lay it out here in a video. Largely, I'm replying to the more common arguments levied against me when I say nice things about LG. First of all, corporate history. If you're still whining about the fruity boot loops from the LG G4, you're 3 years out of date. That would be like me still laughing at Note 7 phones exploding, and I never laughed at Note 7 phones exploding because the Note 7 would have been a badass phone. Boot loops made me sad, Note 7 batteries made me sad, but both companies have improved since then. And I can only speak to my personal experiences with the gadgets that I'm sent to review. All of my problematic LGs are still going strong. Even my V10, which I have treated not kindly. I have put this phone through the ringer, and it's still coming back for more. I want to say the same thing about Samsung, but my S6 Active and my Note 5 are both dead, and I can't revive them. I still flirt with the idea of getting them repaired, but right now, they're just paperweights. So I have to comment on what happened to me while using these phones. And from that same era of Samsung design, this is what my Galaxy S6 has done. Really freaks me out holding a phone whose battery has puffed this wide. But again, there's some cool stuff on this phone that I want to try and salvage at some point, so I will probably get it fixed. It's just a little lower on the list of priorities right now. This is my real experience with Samsung. And the only thing I can point to similarly with LG is just how unreliable my experiences were with the G5, the only LG I've used which is not a part of my collection right now. Did that feel good for anyone going back? When we're talking about gadgets released today, is that what we're gonna have to do now, is relitigate the last 5 years of smartphone ownership? Or are we gonna deal with the devices that are here now and actually compare them against each other fairly? People have put out those headlines, oh, you should buy a Galaxy S10e instead. The G8 doesn't offer anything which could possibly be a benefit to consumers. And suggesting that is silly. Full stop. You're probably not very good at analyzing tech instead of playing to a specific audience, if that's really your takeaway from using an LG G8. Not reading the press release, not just reading the specs list, but actually using the phone. Quick little duel, you got it. The hole punch on the front of the Samsung screen, definitely prettier. I hate anything that disrupts the display on a phone, but that is progress, seeing it shrink and getting smaller. But going with that minimal bezel look means you should absolutely not use Face Unlock on a Samsung if you care about security. We can make fun of the LG Air gestures. They're goofy, they're kinda wacky, absolutely silly. I'm really not sure how much I'll use features like that once I'm through this main review period. But that hardware on the front of the LG phone is critically important. That's what delivers real, secure, near Apple grade security for Face Unlock. So yeah, let's make fun of air gestures, but overlooking the better biometric lock on a smartphone is either ignorant because you haven't really used one, or you didn't really use one while you had it, or you're disingenuously cherry-picking data to help a Samsung win in a comparison of features. You want to talk about general consumers? Right now, general consumers are starting to care about their data security. You get to pay more for a less secure phone. That's not an opinion. Samsung included a less secure Face Unlock. So if we're gonna tag these companies for gimmicks, that's a pretty bad gimmick. Both LG and Samsung tout these professional camera capabilities, professional quality content creation. That comes directly from Samsung PR. I'm not putting that on Samsung for all the people who whinge on about how average people don't do things with their phones, so they don't need manual options. Samsung has set the bar at professional photo and video quality. Only LG and Huawei are really living up to that marketing claim right now. I really do believe eventually manual video modes or manual photography controls for the wide-angle camera on the Galaxy S10 will eventually make it into Samsung software stack, but it's not here today. Not only is it not here on current phones, it was removed from the Galaxy Note 9. That's just a bad look. Samsung still offers some great performance on their camera. No one's taking that away from them, but they have not earned their reputation for the top content creation phone this year. They're just more popular and they have a bigger marketing budget. But let's say you're really trying to shop a near $1,000 phone and you don't care about having premium features on it. We can still point to some auto features and some auto modes where the LG does step away. It would be nice if a Galaxy had some form of night mode. Again, something we expect to happen in a future software update, but it's not here today. While the LG G8 now has a night view, which is competing really well against Pixels. I mean, everyone's losing to the P30 Pro right now. We can set that one aside in its own category. But see, to know that LG's night view has gotten really good, you'd actually have to point to it in a video, which means you would have had to have really used it out in the field, like going out at night and shooting some samples with it and seeing what it has to provide and what compromises it has. And that's what your job should be if you review tech. Now, the next one's personal for me because I'm a huge fan for classic AKG recording equipment. My favorite all-time classic microphone, the C414, ULS and XLS. So I should be on board Samsung plus AKG. That should be an amazing audio train, but it's not. So far, it just looks like a label swap. Decent earbuds when you buy a Galaxy, but they're Samsung earbuds with little AKG stickers on them, whatever the tuning might be from AKG engineers. They're outperformed by $20 KZs. They're good, but they're not AKG. Flip side of that, LG is the true headphone audio king by a pretty significant margin. Undisputed, objective fact, and that's stuff you can measure and test. So it's not just someone's opinion if one phone sounds better than another. It's not to take away that headphone audio hasn't gotten a lot better on Samsung since the dark days of the Galaxy S7, but you're paying more for fewer premium features if you care about what you plug into your ears. Looking at an LG G8, it can't really be the master of none when it's literally the master of audiophile ear candy. It's silly. It's real silly. It's a terrible counterpoint when, you point to the quad DAC on an LG and someone has to flip it and say, oh, but I don't care about my ears and I'm happy to pay more for the privilege. You're not gonna win a lot of people over with that counterpoint. And lastly, after my broken collection of Samsungs and how well the V10 has lived up to some of its marketing claims, I really do feel better seeing that LG continues to rate their phones for military-grade drop and shock resistance. The current Galaxies might be as durable as the LG G8. We don't know. We really don't. Samsung refuses to tell us what that impact rating might look like. We know that a phone with back glass is still gonna crack in a drop, but really what we're hoping to see is that you can preserve the internals when the outside of the phone is damaged. Probably won't be able to get anything off of my Galaxy Note 5, and I'm hoping to resurrect some of the information that I know is still stuck on my Galaxy S6. Now, there have been plenty of videos out, especially on the LG G8, sort of tacitly comparing it to the Galaxy S10 and why the S10 is a better phone, so I don't feel I need to spend a ton of time pointing out what some of those benefits might be, but as a quick list, I don't think anyone would fight me on the idea that Samsung's OLED technology, the AMOLED screen on the Galaxies, at least a generation, maybe 2 generations ahead of what LG's doing with the P-OLED. Like a fair fight would be an LG G8 versus a Galaxy S8 in terms of display quality. In the hand, Samsung's better stereo imaging definitely has an advantage over the dual speaker mode that we find on the G8 if we're talking audio in the hand. I think that's a nice perk. I'm gonna get crotchety and annoying here, but I don't think either company is super great at software. I don't like either skin from either manufacturer, and with both phones, I'm likely to just slap on something like Nova Launcher regardless. But history should point to the fact that we'll likely see more timely software updates from Samsung. Not great though, so if software is really your thing, you should be looking elsewhere, like a Pixel, a OnePlus, maybe some other Android One device, maybe a Nokia. But DeX is really cool. I am hoping so bad that Google really can land a native Android desktop mode, and that maybe we get that update to the G8 before 2021. A long shot, I know, but in the immediate time, the time right now, Huawei and Samsung have something really special, being able to plug an HDMI cable into a larger display and use your phone like a real computer. LG returned HDMI out to the G8, and it's really handy being able to plug it into a TV or into a monitor, but it's just not the same as a real good desktop mode. And we can keep playing that back, tit for tat. Some of this is measurable, more scientific. Some of this is gonna be highly subjective. If you come at me with a hole punch, I'm probably gonna reply with the flush rear cameras. But even though I obviously, honestly prefer LG as a daily driver, saying some nice things about a Samsung did not seem to shrivel up my gonads. They're fine. That's the hit. I'm tired of so-called tech fans being against competition. Those really obnoxious tags to the ends of overwhelmingly negative reviews. Oh, but you should buy what you want. You should buy what you like, which is the most backhanded YouTuber cop-out you can see in a video. Oh, you can buy what you like. I mean, you might like garbage. You go have a blast, you crazy island of misfit toys, kid, you. That's all the sort of YouTube internet echo chamber at work there. My thesis, the point of this video is not what phone you should buy. I respect my audience enough not to tell them how I think they should spend their money, but instead, simply, just for the beginning of 2019, the LG G8 deserves to be considered as solid competition for a Galaxy S10. They focus on different things which might appeal to different consumers, and that's what we need in a healthy marketplace. Oh, but I would buy an LG G8 if it offered me everything that Samsung does, but were cheaper than a Galaxy S10e. Astute observation, but we all know that's not true, because it's real easy to find an LG G8 priced lower than a Galaxy S10e. That's not hard. And you're still gonna go with the Galaxy. That's fine, you like that brand. But let's not pretend that this isn't a good fight. Agree Disagree? I'm assuming most of you out there in YouTube land probably disagree with me. So let's have a conversation about it. Drop some comments down below. I love a good debate, but I will be muting anyone who goes off topic or can't cobble together a focused reply based on what I'm talking about in this video. Let's try not to go too far off topic or just vomiting out what someone else told you about the LG G8. Let's focus this discussion here on these phones now, because I actually have the LG G8 and I've been using it a lot, and chances are probably pretty good that you don't. Worth wrapping up this rambling diatribe with the fact that this whole video was shot, edited, and rendered on the LG G8, 4K video, 60 frames per second, and I used my wireless kit to feed my lav directly into the phone. Worked pretty well. Thanks to manual video and manual audio controls, this is a lot easier to shoot one of these talking to camera videos on an LG than pretty much anything else that's out there right now. But of course, the G8 couldn't possibly have anything to offer folks out there. You know where you can catch me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and I am going to run a game stream from this G8 soon on the Twitches, and I will catch you all on the next video.